Hi, this is Kerry Christian. I'm here to bring you a brief year-end summary of 2021 for the Rojan watershed community. The work on the Rojan was started 6 years ago with help from Riverkeeper and Bard College, and they've been continuing partners ever since then. We also work a lot with Trout Unlimited, the Columbia Green chapter, and they've been great partners as well. And if you want to find any of our data, just go to the Riverkeeper's water quality site or to the Bard site. You can find links to all of that on our website, rojanwatershed.org. Last year was a difficult year for sampling on the Rojan because of COVID. We only managed to do 4 of the 6 months, and it was difficult because we required different sampling techniques because of the COVID outbreak, COVID protocols that were pretty strict. And this year we were able to do 6 out of 6 sampling dates, and the protocols were relaxed slightly, so it's a little bit easier on the stream this year. The big news this year is that we added new parameters to our sampling. We're now sampling for organics and for trace metals, and over time we hope to learn more about the Rojan as we learn more about the presence or lack of organics and trace metals. I'll give you a little bit of update on that in a sec. The main thing we've sampled for over 6 years is Enterococcus, and as most of you probably know, Enterococcus is a fecal indicator bacteria. It tends to get into the water from septic systems or from farm waste or occasionally from other animal waste. This year, if you look at all the data on the stream, all the dates, all the sites, and you put that all together, we were slightly over the EPA threshold for Enterococcus. That's still a pretty good result, but we'd certainly like to be doing a little bit better. If you think back to July, we had a major rain event in July. Tropical storm Elsa came through a little bit before sampling. And in July, 10 of the 14 sites that we sampled exceeded the EPA single site criteria for Enterococcus. And that's a pretty typical result on the Rojan when it's rainy or rainy in the few days preceding. You tend to have worse results than you do in dry weather periods. So this year we're also sampling for organics and trace metals. The organic sampling, we looked at total dissolved nitrogen in the stream, and in more than half of the times we sampled this year, it was exceeding the EPA criteria. For phosphorus, it exceeded the EPA criteria less than half the times. So we're going to keep an eye on both of those going forward. And over the next few years, we'll certainly have a better picture of what's going on with organics in the Rojan. In looking at trace metals, most of the metals that we tried to identify were not present in the samples, or they're present at below the threshold of the instrument that we're using. But 2 of them were detectable, iron and manganese, and in both of those the amounts detected were well below the EPA criteria. If you really want to know more about all of this, there's a very nice paper by Dr. Emily White of Bard College, and it's linked to on our website. We also have some very nice graphs of the Rojan results this year done by Ann Olson of Bard College. We're hoping that next year will be a better year on the stream. We hope that we'll be able to return to sampling with friends, which can make it both a citizen science event and a social event. And we're hoping that there'll be just less tension in general around COVID. That would be, I think, what we're all hoping for. I'd like to thank all the samplers that made this year's work possible. And I'd also like to thank the towns and groups along the Rojan that are paying for the sites that are near to them. That helps fund the program, as do donors. So altogether, the samplers, the donors, the organizations along the banks that pay for their sites, that's what makes all of this work possible. Thanks very much, and see you next year on the stream.